Chapter 7: The Call of Adventure. As I settled back into life in my small Taiwanese village, I found myself constantly daydreaming about my next adventure. The memories of Japan lingered in my mind, fueling my desire to explore more of the world. I spent my days helping my family on the farm and working part-time at the local cafe, all while planning my next journey. One evening, as I scrolled through travel blogs on my laptop, an article about volunteering in South America caught my eye. The idea of combining travel with meaningful work resonated deeply with me. I realized that this could be my chance to not only see a new part of the world, but also to make a difference in people's lives. After weeks of research and preparation, I decided to embark on a 6-month volunteer program in Peru. The program focused on teaching English to children in rural communities and assisting with local development projects. It was a far cry from the bustling streets of Tokyo, but the prospect of immersing myself in a completely different culture thrilled me. My family was understandably concerned about my decision to travel so far from home. However, seeing the determination in my eyes, they gave me their blessings. My mother hugged me tightly and whispered, "You've grown so much, Lily. We trust you to take care of yourself." Her words filled me with warmth and gave me the courage I needed for this new chapter in my life. Chapter 8: Landing in Lima. The journey to Peru was long and tiring, but as the plane descended into Lima, my excitement overcame my fatigue. The sprawling city, nestled between the Pacific Ocean and the foothills of the Andes, was a sight to behold. The mixture of modern skyscrapers and colonial architecture created a unique skyline that hinted at the country's rich history. I was greeted at the airport by Maria, a local coordinator for the volunteer program. She was a friendly woman in her 40s, with a warm smile that immediately put me at ease. As we drove through the city to the hostel where I would be staying for a few days, Maria gave me a brief overview of Peruvian culture and some essential Spanish phrases. The hostel was a vibrant place, filled with travelers from all over the world. I shared a room with 3 other volunteers, Emma from Canada, Sofia from Argentina, and Lena from Germany. Despite our diverse backgrounds, we quickly bonded over our shared excitement for the upcoming volunteer work. During our orientation days in Lima, we explored the city's historic center, tasted delicious Peruvian cuisine, and learned more about the communities we would be working with. The sights, sounds, and flavors of Peru were intoxicating. From the colorful markets selling exotic fruits to the sound of pan flutes echoing through the streets, every moment was a new sensory experience. Chapter 9: Into the Heart of the Andes. After our brief stay in Lima, it was time to travel to our assigned communities. My destination was a small village called Huelabamba, nestled high in the Andes Mountains. The journey there was an adventure in itself, involving a bumpy bus ride along winding mountain roads and breathtaking views of snow-capped peaks and deep valleys. As we climbed higher into the mountains, I felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. The air grew thinner, and I could feel the effects of the altitude. But the beauty of the landscape was awe-inspiring, with terraced fields clinging to steep hillsides and colorful traditional clothing worn by the local people we passed. Upon arriving in Huelabamba, I was struck by the simplicity and beauty of the village. Stone houses with red-tiled roofs dotted the hillside, and in the center of the village stood a small, whitewashed church. The local coordinator, Juan, introduced me to my host family, the Quispe's. They welcomed me with open arms, despite the language barrier between us. My room in the Quispe household was small but comfortable, with a window that offered a stunning view of the surrounding mountains. That night, as I lay in bed listening to the unfamiliar sounds of the Andean night, I felt a profound sense of gratitude for this opportunity to experience a way of life so different from my own. Chapter 10: Teaching and Learning. My days in Huelabamba quickly fell into a routine, but each day brought new challenges and joys. In the mornings, I taught English at the local school. The children, aged between 6 and 12, were eager to learn and their enthusiasm was infectious. Despite the limited resources, we made do with what we had, using songs, games, and drawings to make learning fun and engaging. In the afternoons, I assisted with community development projects. We worked on improving the village's water supply system, building a small library, and helping local artisans market their traditional textiles. The work was often physically demanding, but the sense of accomplishment at the end of each day made it all worthwhile. As the weeks passed, I found myself learning as much as I was teaching. The villagers taught me about their customs, their connection to the land, and their ancient Incan heritage. I learned to appreciate the slower pace of life, the importance of community, and the profound respect the people had for Pachamama, or Mother Earth. One of the most memorable experiences was participating in a traditional ceremony to bless the crops. Dressed in colorful traditional clothing, we climbed to a nearby hilltop at dawn. The village shaman performed rituals, offering coca leaves and chicha, a fermented corn drink, to the earth. As the sun rose over the mountains, painting the sky in brilliant hues of orange and pink, I felt a deep connection to this land and its people. Chapter 11: The Inca Trail Adventure. As my time in Peru neared its halfway point, I decided to take a short break to fulfill a lifelong dream, hiking the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. With the blessing of my host family and fellow volunteers, I set off on a 4-day trek through the Andes. The trail was challenging, with steep ascents and descents, but the stunning scenery made every step worthwhile. We passed through cloud forests, alpine tundra, and subtropical jungles. Along the way, our guide taught us about the history of the Inca Empire and the significance of the various ruins we encountered. On the 3rd day, we reached Dead Woman's Pass, the highest point of the trail at 4,215 meters above sea level. The climb was grueling, but the sense of achievement upon reaching the top was indescribable. As I stood there, looking out over the vast expanse of mountains, I felt a profound sense of my own smallness in the face of such natural grandeur. The final day of the trek began before dawn. We hiked in the dark, our headlamps illuminating the ancient stone path. As the sun rose, we reached the Sun Gate, and there, spread out below us, was Machu Picchu. The site of the ancient city, shrouded in morning mist and bathed in golden sunlight, took my breath away. It was a moment of pure magic, one that I knew I would cherish for the rest of my life. Chapter 12: Farewell to Peru. As my 6 months in Peru drew to a close, I found myself filled with mixed emotions. I was excited to return home and share my experiences with my family, but I also felt a deep sadness at leaving this place that had become a second home. My last few weeks in Huelabamba were bittersweet. The children at the school organized a farewell party, presenting me with handmade gifts and cards. The Quispe family, who had become like a second family to me, prepared a special dinner featuring all my favorite Peruvian dishes. On my final evening, as I sat with my host family watching the sunset behind the mountains, I reflected on how much I had grown during my time in Peru. I had learned to adapt to a new culture, to communicate across language barriers, and to find joy in simple things. Most importantly, I had learned that despite our differences, people everywhere share the same basic desires for love, community, and purpose. As I boarded the plane back to Taiwan, my heart was full. I knew that this experience had changed me forever, broadening my perspective and deepening my understanding of the world. I left Peru with a suitcase full of souvenirs, a journal filled with memories, and a burning desire to continue exploring the world and making a difference wherever I went. The end of this journey was just the beginning of many more to come. As the plane took off, carrying me back across the Pacific, I smiled to myself, already dreaming of my next adventure.